Welcome to another trade recap. It is May 28th. I took one trade today. It was a win. It was this long on NQ. This puts me out 4 for 4 on the week, so really good week so far. Don't even ask about this because genuinely insane type of price action here. But let's get into today. So going into today, I was extremely bullish. Now, why am I bullish today? A couple reasons. First off, we are at all-time highs, and basically, going into the morning, I recognize a couple of things. First off, we have an SMT here at this, looks like a previous day's low. Yeah, this is Tuesday's low. So SMT at previous day's low. And NQ is working out of this daily bullish imbalance here. So as you can see here, we've got this bullish for value gap. In the overnight session, NQ taps into this, and then we're getting bought up out of this higher time frame key level. So bullish SMT at the lows, at previous day's low, inside of a bigger time frame imbalance. And then what is the reaction of the SMT, which is, remember, more important than the SMT itself is the reaction. What is the reaction? Heavy displacement higher. This whole bearish imbalance gets ran through here. And as soon as this happens, as soon as SMT gets put in inside of the fair value gap, and you get this inverse fair value gap here, the next form of buy side liquidity becomes the draw on liquidity, especially once we do this. We open up this 1 hour, we rebalance to the 1 hour. This holds bullish as well, and then we get displacement again. As soon as all of this happens, this becomes the draw on liquidity. No questions asked. This is also an intermediate high. It is a high inside of a fair value gap. So going into the morning, I am extremely bullish. And at market open, we have this 15-minute fair value gap here. So let me just go back a little bit. So at market open, we have this 15-minute imbalance right here. And basically what I'm looking for at market open is for the market to sell off, manipulate lower into this 15-minute, have some form of internal manipulation, and then look to take an inverse fair value gap to the upside, going break even at the internal high, and then targeting this 1 hour intermediate high as my final draw on liquidity, right? So that is kind of what I'm looking for at market open. So market ends up opening. We get this sell off here. Hang on. Not yet. Okay, so here market opens. This actually ends up being a bearish SMT here, right? And I'm like, okay, if this just goes, there's no trade for me because there was no manipulation, there was no nothing, no tapping into the 15-minute gap. It was just a straight up move at market open. So I was like, if this goes, whatever, I'm not going to take a trade. Now, this does not end up playing out. Obviously, the market ends up selling off kind of similarly, like similar to what we did yesterday. We kind of open, sweep a high, and then just dump. Or actually, that was Tuesday. Yesterday, we just straight up dumped, but you get the gist. But we end up coming into the 5-minute, right? And from here, I'm like, okay, maybe when we want to get bought up. Nope, market sells off again. And keep in mind, I'm watching ES this whole time. But somewhere around here, we actually end up getting. So basically, this whole time, what am I doing? Like I'm like starting here is when I started potentially looking for longs. When this candle wicks and we start to get bought up, I'm like, okay, at this point in time, the only way for me to take a long is for this massive 1 minute bearish imbalance to get ran. So what I was actually hoping for here, this entire time that we were like kind of slowly selling off right here after market open, is I was wanting a bearish 5-minute imbalance to open up instead of us running up through this 1 minute and then me targeting this high. And the reason that is because this was such a large imbalance. I knew that if I were to take this inverse, my fill would not be very good. It would be like somewhere up here. And at that point, the only real logical place to have my stop would have been the low. So I was not wanting this 1 minute to get ran. Instead, I was wanting us to chop around long enough to open up a bearish 5-minute, which would give me both a target and or a break-even point for me to then take a lower time frame inverse for value gap to the upside down here. So this right here ended up being another thing I was looking at because we end up tapping into the 5-minute fair value gap that was in discount of this price leg. And I was like, okay, maybe this can deliver an inverse to the upside. As you can see, this does not end up happening. And we end up selling off again. And then there's a 2-minute inverse that we end up putting in. Now, this is a 2-minute that I end up looking to take. But to be honest, this candle, it was like a 30-second candle, did like a 50-point move here. And I was thinking like it might have just been some crazy tweet from Trump or whatever. Like I wasn't a fan of how volatile and fast this was. I was thinking it might just be a rebalance and then we might just dump. Basically, I thought there was some sort of news that I was unaware of because of how fast this 30-second candle moved. So I didn't end up taking this. But what we end up doing is inversing the 2-minute, coming all the way up. We tap a 5-minute, which was not like the most ideal scenario because, I mean, if we're going to be bullish towards this 5-minute gap, then it's more optimal to not have already tapped this because this leaves another draw for the market to go higher. But basically, we end up opening up a 2-minute bullish imbalance here, and this is where I take my long. So this, remember, this 2-minute gets inversed, and then this 2-minute bullish imbalance opens up, and I take my long here. Now, once again, why am I long? Or why am I bullish? Because of everything I've just explained about the bigger time frame, right? Like SMT at previous day's low, inside of the bigger time frame daily imbalance reaction of the SMT is the big 1 hour getting ran. After the 1 hour gets ran, we get a rebalance to equilibrium of this internal price leg. This fair value gap holds bullish. We get displacement up again. When we get displacement up, we open up this bullish 15-minute imbalance. I just want to see the market come into this, hold it, and then see a continuation higher. So just quickly recap why I'm bullish here. And it's like you might see this price leg, this bearish imbalance, and be like, why are you longing? Because of the higher time frame. The higher time frame is much more important than this little sell-off at market open. So I take my long here in this 2-minute imbalance, and I'm looking to go break even at this high here, and I'm targeting the 5-minute fair value gap for my final TP, which is this here. I'm targeting the untapped. And then I was going break even at the intermediate high inside of this fair value gap. Now this trade ends up testing my patience because, I mean, we pretty much just chop around for like a good amount of time. So we end up getting the break even, right? And then selling all the way back down. Like, keep in mind, once this high gets taken, I move my stop to break even, right? So at this point in time, I'm right here. Then we come all the way down, pretty much tap it by like, we miss break even by like 2 points. And then eventually the trade plays out nicely. And I also had a 30-second untapped fair value gap marked here that I was potentially thinking about holding this trade until. But when I see us chop around for, whatever this was, like 15 minutes here, I wasn't really confident that we were going to get, at this point in time, basically, I wasn't confident that this was going to be a clean move higher before we get some sort of rebalance, right? So this does end up playing out to the 30-second, but I end up just taking my full position off at the 5-minute. And yeah, that was pretty much the trade. This, we also had, I forgot to mention, this was an SMT right here. It was actually might have been like this, but if I drag over ES, as you can see, this low here, 839, where my cursor is, does not get swept out by ES at 850, but NQ's all the way down here. So this added even more conviction to this long. I was like, okay, NQ's sweeping out the low. We've got this bullish SMT. Now, once again, what do you always have to pay attention to? You have to pay attention to the reaction of the SMT. So this 2-minute bearish imbalance ends up getting ran. We get displacement higher into the 5-minute fair value gap, leave it high inside of here. And I'm like, okay, is this going to hold bullish? We come down, back down into the 2-minute bullish imbalance, back to the 2-minute inverse, back to equilibrium of this displacement leg. That's where I take my long, break even at the intermediate high, and then cash out at the 5-minute. So pretty similar to yesterday's trade, honestly, and the trade before that, I'm pretty sure, on Tuesday. But yeah, really nice overall. And then don't even ask me what the heck this is. So literally, like, this was actually kind of annoying. Being patient this entire time, just sitting on my hands, watching my break even get edged like 8 times, and then this just monstrosity of a move happens like 2 minutes after I close, and we end up completing this buy model that I was looking at initially. So this beautiful internal market maker buy model gets complete with some insane move like after 9 a.m. Once again, don't know what this was. Probably some crazy tweet from Trump, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at now. Overall, really nice day, really nice bias. I was not gonna lie, for a little bit, I was kind of starting to doubt the bullish bias. I wanted to see how heavy this displacement was, and more so because of ES. Because notice, like, ES was low key just dumping through this at some point. Like NQ was like low key still up here, and ES was like all the way down here. I didn't really like the discorrelation between assets, and I was like, okay, maybe this little internal SMT here might actually hold, and we might sell off. But I mean, that's why you just have to be reactive, because my initial bias was bullish because of everything that I've just explained. But I was saying, okay, maybe we want to get a sell, but I'm not going to try to guess whether we're going to be bullish or bearish. I'm just going to simply wait for the market to tell me which one we're going to do, like whether we're going to be bullish or bearish. So when I see the SMT get put in inside of the 5-minute imbalance, I see that we've rebalanced to OTE of this price leg here. As you can see, we're below equilibrium, we're in OTE, and I see the reaction of this internal SMT is the 2-minute inverse right here. After we get the 2-minute inverse, we open up the 2-minute bullish imbalance, as you can see here. 2-minute imbalance opens up. I take my long here. I'm break even at the 5-minute intermediate high, and I take my full position off at the untapped 5 minute fair value gap, and then the market just absolutely soars. But what are we doing here? Even like, keep in mind, even when there are crazy volatile moves like this, it's not just random. It's an influx of volatility to go do what the market was already going to do. What was the market already going to do here? Take out this high. So what did we do here? We went and we took out buy side. Like, it's not just completely random. It's just like news. Like, news isn't completely random. It's just an influx of market volatility to go mitigate the draw on liquidity, to go take whatever the draw on liquidity already is. Now, why is this a draw on liquidity? Because of the SMT at previous day's low. We're coming out of a daily fair value gap here. The reaction of this SMT is that all of these bearish imbalances getting ran. Once these get ran, we get the rebalance to equilibrium of this price leg. This fair value gap holds bullish. We get displacement up again. 15-minute opens up. I'm looking for this to hold bullish and then just see a continuation towards this buy side level. And remember the 4 reasons why markets move. Like, that's what you always need to be thinking about when you're in the market live. You need to be thinking about the market hunting liquidity, generating liquidity, rebalancing to inefficiencies, and rebalancing to equilibrium. So what are we doing when we sell off? We are hunting sell side liquidity on ES in the form of previous day's low. So we take sell side, SMT gets put in. Now what else are we doing on NQ? We are rebalancing to inefficiencies in the form of the daily fair value gap. What else are we doing? We are rebalanced, or once we get to the fair value gap, what are we doing? We are displacing higher, running through these imbalances, showing the order flow is shifting bullish. Now, once we get this big displacement move higher, what does the market do? We rebalance to what? Equilibrium. 4 reasons why markets move: rebalance to equilibrium. We are also rebalancing to inefficiency. We are hunting sell side in the form of internal lows to do what? Displace higher above this high. We're also, this whole time, what are we doing? We're moving from external range liquidity to internal range liquidity. Internal to external, external to internal, internal to external in here. And this whole time as well, what are we doing? What is all of this price action taking place inside of a internal market maker buy model? We have sell side of the curve here with generated buy side selling off into a key level, being the daily fair value gap, SMT at the low. So market maker buy model, sell side of the curve, displacement back inside the range, pull back to the fair value gap, buy side of the curve to complete the move. So I know I'm yapping a lot, but I'm just explaining to you like what you need to be thinking about when in the market. Don't just look at the 1 minute time frame and be like, oh my gosh, bearish fair value gap right here, let me short. Like, you need to really zoom out, recognize what's actually happening here, and then think of all of these concepts that you've learned in real time. Think of the market maker buy models here. Think of sell side of the curve here, displacement back inside the range, smart money reversal, buy side of the curve towards buy side liquidity. Think of order flow. Think of the market displacing through bearish imbalances, showing us that the draw on liquidity is not bearish because we are trading through these, turning these to inverses, and then targeting buy side liquidity. Think of order flow. Think of market maker models. Think of inverse fair value gaps. Just think of all of these things. Visualize them in real time, and that's how you're going to start to really gain a lot of conviction and intuition and be able to trust your model. Like, because like I said, I was extremely bullish going into the day. But when this is what happens at market open, we just absolutely dump. Like, how many people do you think we're trying to short here? How many people do you think we're trying to short these fair value gaps? Short this 5 minute here, short the 2 minute that opened up, because they're just paying attention to only this right here. They're paying attention to the fact that we just had a 200-point sell-off instead of zooming out and recognizing what's actually happening, which is the market is just continuing to trend higher since we're at all-time highs. We're coming out of the daily imbalance, and we've got this internal model with an intermediate high as a target. So yeah, that was today's trade. Very nice. Let me quickly bring up the executions. I think I already did, but just to make sure. Here are the executions. Like I said, I entered on the 2 minute imbalance, cashed out at the 5 minute, was thinking about holding to the 30-second, but didn't like the way that we were chopping, and then massive move happens. But yeah, very clean trade today. Very nice model overall. Beautiful market maker buy model. And yeah, see y'all in the next one.